Alright, welcome back. My name is Jarek Announcer, and this is TLC 2017. That's tables, ladders, and chairs for you new folks. Let's go. Alright, so I'm going to replace my coverage of the pre-show with this thought. This probably had the worst build of any pay-per-view so far this year. They didn't build this properly, I don't think. Why was there no tables match? Why was there no chairs match? Why was there not a ladder match? Anyway, let's move on to the main show and the opening match with the debut of Asuka. Yeah, that one. It was a good call to have the Asuka match first. It started the crowd off hot because they gave Asuka a huge pop when she came out. Like a Bayley debut style pop. Emma was made to look like a competitor in this match despite her previous weeks of booking where she kind of weaseled her way into winning. She actually gave a good wrestling match. And a lot of her competitive style was covered up by the fact that she took a lot of shortcuts and cheap shots throughout the entire match. In the end, Asuka won with her Asuka lock and it made her look good. I'm looking forward to her future matches and her eventually winning the title. Maybe at the Royal Rumble, maybe at WrestleMania, either one. Next was one of the two Cruiserweight matches on this card, and this was what the Cruiserweights deserved. They finally had the respect they should have had coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic. They had video packages, they had time to actually do their matches, and they got to do flippy stuff. In the first of the two Cruiserweight matches, Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann beat the combination of Brian Kendrick and gentleman Jack Gallagher, and it was a good match. It was a really fun match to watch. Again, Cedric Alexander, he got a lot of offense in. I don't know why his springboard roundhouse kick isn't a more effective maneuver. That could be a second finisher for him, despite his amazing lung blower or lumbar check, whatever you want to call it. They're both amazing, and both should be very protected. Following that was the Raw Women's Championship, which featured the young champ versus the old vet, despite 3 of the 8 people in the main event being older than Mickie James. One of them by a decade. Anyway, this was easily Alexa's and Mickie's best match together. The two of them had competed against one another before, and it didn't turn out nearly as great as this match was. And this match wasn't even 100% great, but it was still so much better by comparison. They had a consistent story throughout, with Alexa working on Mickie's arm, and just a great ending in the end. One of the funnier things, at least to me, about this match was Mickie finding a way to counter the most devastating move in women's wrestling, and that is the dreaded hair pull. After Alexa would snatch her hair, she would simply just kip up. This happened a couple times and it led to an innovative spot which I don't think I've seen before, so bravo there. After the match though, after Bliss won and retained her title, Mickie gave an interview which sounded like she would be stepping away for a little while, maybe to go back to that 3-year-old son she mentioned, and just have some well-earned time off. After that came the only other title defense on this show. Despite Raw having 4 titles that could have been defended, there was only 2. Enzo and Kalisto had their matchup in which Enzo won after cheating, which is best for business, but also just confusing after Kalisto had previously just won the title. There was a couple questions I had about this match that I didn't really think about until after it was completely over. Where were the 4 fellas Enzo hired earlier in the week to jump Kalisto? Where was Mustafa Ali to help defend Kalisto against cheating? This could have really built to a better story for the Cruiserweight division, but instead it's just Enzo winning the championship back, which again will be better for the Cruiserweights, but not for this match. After a somewhat lackluster match in terms of the actual wrestling, comes the best wrestling match of the night between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. These are the 2 former leaders of the Bullet Club, which was something that was actually heavily mentioned on commentary, referencing both their former faction and their former club, but man, was this a great bout. As for the match itself, I just have one thing to say about it, and that is simply go watch it if you're a wrestling fan and if you've not seen it already. This was a great match between 2 great competitors, 2 great athletes, and you just see their passion for wrestling just bleed all over this. This match instantly elevated both guys and showcased why they have been both champions in WWE and in other companies. With that being said, both men should instantly go on to challenge for titles in the WWE. Finn Balor should go take on Brock Lesnar, and AJ Styles should go on and take care of Jinder Mahal. I would really enjoy seeing Finn Balor back as Universal Champion, having the championship that he never lost, and I'd love to see AJ Styles as WWE Champion again because it's AJ Styles. The next match was booked during TLC based off the events happening inside of TLC. Elias came out several times to do his song, and Jason Jordan erupted a bunch of times to throw vegetables at him. I legitimately checked Instagram throughout the entirety of this match because I figured that we'd see it another 3 times in the next 3 weeks. So if I really wanted to watch it, I have plenty more opportunities. Lastly comes the main event of TLC with a gigantic 5-on-3 handicap match pitting The Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro, aka The Bar, Braun Strowman, and the returning Kane out of nowhere gimmick infringement of Randy Orton versus the reunion of The Shield, minus 1/3 of The Shield because of mumps. You had Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose partnering up with the first time in over a decade Kurt Angle to take on that 5-man team across the way. This is definitely not how Kurt Angle's return should have been booked, but out of necessity, this was a smart move to put in such a high-powered name and a high-powered return to take over for the missing Roman Reigns. Simply put, if I had bought a ticket to TLC and the events unfolded as they did where Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns could not compete due to illness, I would not have been disappointed by receiving AJ Styles versus Finn Balor and the return of Kurt Angle to a WWE ring instead. This was great compensation on part of WWE, and it led to some great moments in this match. Kurt Angle was protected highly in this match by being taken out halfway through due to a Braun Strowman power slam through a table, and that was great. It was good to have Kurt protected in this match. His return at the end of the match was one of the greatest moments of the match. He destroyed both members of the Bar on the entrance ramps, giving Olympic slams to everybody, and it was just a wonderful thing. When he slammed Cesaro through the table, I popped. I was cheering in my room by myself on my Kindle. I need a better life. The Olympic Shield went over in the end at what was a good match, especially given everything that went on in the last 3 days inside WWE. So bravo to WWE for pulling this pay-per-view out of their hat. It was probably one of Raw's best pay-per-views for the year. I'm not going to say it was their best, but as an individual brand, it was one of their best. Leaving TLC and many storylines to develop, you have the ongoing championships between Enzo and Alexa, her finding a new challenger, Enzo being the king of the cruiserweights again. That was a low blow to Neville. I'm so sorry if for some reason you ever watched this. Asuka can go forth and take over. AJ and Finn can have their own independent things crop back up. Hopefully Finn will not return to Bray Wyatt. I really hope that's not the case. Jason Jordan and Elias can go on to fight between now and Survivor Series and just have that match every week. So that's actually a storyline. It's not a good one, but it is a storyline. Kurt Angle could even go on as an in-ring competitor or just make special in-ring appearances like Shane McMahon does twice a year. And they could even set up the storyline that was teased on commentary about how the fact that Kurt didn't pick someone else from the active roster to replace Roman Reigns in the main event pay-per-view, blah, blah, blah. To replace Roman Reigns in the main event of this pay-per-view. That could be a storyline instantly in and of itself. Just have someone that hasn't been on TV come up to Kurt Angle, complain. It probably has to be a heel. Maybe you could take a babyface and turn them heel with this. So that could be a good storyline going forth from TLC. All in all, this was a really good show, and if you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to check it out. It's worth watching. It's got some good matches, especially the main event, especially AJ versus Finn. Ooh, I could watch that again right now. I'm not, because I'm about to go eat some lunch. But until then, I've been Jarek Announcer, and welcome to TLC 2017. Stay tuned for the blooper. Sheamus, nope, that team, and Kalisto's, because neither of them are the, let's flip that around. And that would have covered,